Everybody is having a happy Monday. And yeah, we're just still on a high from the conference last Thursday. There was so much, valuable information that was shared for the day. So hopefully it's an information overload for people. But yeah, today we're all about talking about achieving Black Friday, Cyber Monday success on TikTok. And we've got the wonderful Ashley and James that have joined us, and I'll let them introduce themselves in a little bit. So yeah, for those that don't know about D2C Live, we are a brand first community, and our purpose is all around inspiration, education and connection. So really bringing together different business owners, C-suite decision makers, technology pioneers, everyone together to kind of collaborate and grow within the ecosystem. And I'm sure if anyone's been active on LinkedIn, you'll have seen all of the noise that was created around D2C Live conference last week as well. So super excited to keep on bringing more and more to everyone. And yeah, so we support brands in a number of different ways through flagship events like our conferences, exclusive dinners, webinars, drinks, and our newsletter as well. So if you've not subscribed to that, please check it out. And that goes out every Thursday, full of all things D2C, e-commerce and retail. And yeah, so I'm also the founder of Rainy City, and here are some of the brands that we've worked with across a number of different services that we offer, and everything around website redesigns, re-platforming across to Shopify, Shopify Plus, CRO, A/B testing, and meta ads as well. So I'd love to introduce Ashley from Social Tail. Ashley, do you want to give yourself a little bit of an intro about you?
Sure thing. But yeah, thanks for having me. So yes, I'm Ashley. I'm founder of Social Tail. We basically run a TikTok growth agency. We basically specialize in helping e-com brands basically get on TikTok and obviously kind of navigate the whole TikTok shop ecosystem. So yeah.
Thank you. And James as well. Do you want to give a quick intro?
Yeah. So I'm the head of meta ads for Rainy City, and yeah, we work with lots of e-com brands in the fashion, the wellness space. And yeah, I think our sort of main strengths are like consumer psychology, looking at the creative strategy and looking at the data in all of our campaigns.
Amazing. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited to have you both together. Two completely different channels, but all needs to work together in the ecosystem, doesn't it, for brands that are the biggest season that's coming up. So yeah, all around Black Friday, Cyber Monday success. So James, I'm going to start with you. What have you found to be like the best types of offers that perform best on Meta during like BFCM? And is there anything specific around like deal structures or creative formats that can help consistently drive conversion?
Yeah, so in terms of like a lot of clients ask me this, what sort of tactics can we use? But I always go back to them and say it needs to be really applicable to your brand, your customer base, and your margins. And the reason I say this is because we were actually speaking to one of our existing customers who we onboarded this year. And on paper, their like Black Friday looked really good. They were getting really good ROAS. But she said she gave a bit too much away in her offers. And what she didn't do is really align the offers to her margins. And the reason this is one of the main things I pinpoint is you need to have your margins really, really tight, because the cost of advertising is going to go sky high in Black Friday. So if you're giving some discounts that are way too much, it's not going to work. But in terms of if you've got your margins correct, the offers themselves, they have to do two things. They have to drive average order value as high as possible, and they have to keep a bit of exclusivity and urgency in them. And I'd say one of my favorite offers is the tiered offer. So, for example, if you give 20% off at one price, say like $100, or 30% off at a higher price, what this does is just drives the average order value as high as possible. So that's one of my main ones I would recommend. But obviously you've got your bundles. They're really effective again for boosting high AOV. And with bundles, you just need to look in Shopify or your back end and see which bundles perform the best. So it's all about getting just as much context for your offers. And yeah, I think in terms of using urgency tactics, I think flash sales or early access offers, they're really good ways to get people get their credit card out really and just take action there and then. But yeah, overall, I'd say like it's just aligning with your brand, your margins, and looking at like past performance. Like, is there any clues in the previous Black Fridays years to really guide your offers? So yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, because there's all that learning and that history to kind of go off, isn't there, from like the previous years. And we've heard it quite a lot where people have like gone in, you know, full send as such on their BFCM campaigns, and they've, you know, driven as much revenue as possible. But if it's not profitable, like is there that much of a point at certain stages on e-commerce journeys? And I think it's about finding that balance, isn't it, between profitability and also hitting those like revenue targets. Is there anything in particular, Ashley, that you've kind of noticed that works really well from like an offer standpoint on TikTok around like BFCM?
Yeah, it's quite an interesting one because it's kind of a little bit different on TikTok Shop, especially with like this year being kind of the first kind of like proper year on obviously Black Friday TikTok Shop. So there's not that much data to kind of base it upon, which obviously is quite interesting. So obviously, like if you're on e-com or Amazon, obviously you've got that previous data to kind of obviously make decisions on. Whereas obviously this time round, it's kind of brands going in a little bit blind. So again, obviously I would say to the brands that we're working with and just in general, you've got to figure out, okay, what is your goal for Black Friday on TikTok Shop? Is it, do you want to be profitable? Do you want your brand to kind of be discovered, but where you might obviously not be making as much money, but again, you're obviously getting that top of funnel kind of traffic customers in. So then again, later on, you can obviously get them into your kind of ecosystem. So I think that the main thing is, and again, this is where a lot of brands I'm seeing, they're kind of thinking, okay, look, we know obviously but TikTok's obviously going to be doing a lot of subsidizing. We're going to get a lot of fresh eyeballs to us on TikTok Shop, especially because we normally see about 70% of new customers on TikTok Shop rather than obviously on ecom, which is great. So again, I feel like a lot of brands know that they can obviously kind of take a little bit of a loss to kind of acquire that customer during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and hopefully down the line, they know obviously they're going to have that repeat customer. They can obviously put some leaflets into the actual package and then get them obviously into their kind of e-com and get them to repeat buy. So that's kind of the play it seems to be going towards.
Yeah. And like with the BFCM in mind, like, do you think that there's any factors that brands should be like considering when choosing like which creators to partner with? Because I suppose that all impacts like that overall experience as well, doesn't it? On, you know, they want someone that's going to kind of reflect who they are as a brand through this time, and it's not just kind of having anyone there.
Yeah, definitely. And I think as well, the brands that I think will succeed the most on the platform are the ones that are kind of already briefing and already ready to work the creators from now. Because again, especially with a lot of the creators, they can obviously have a lot of like offers / brands that they obviously need to create content for. So again, the kind of way to do it now is if you've got like your core creators and make sure that they're obviously got still that evergreen kind of content, but also that Black Friday, Cyber Monday kind of messaging, because again, you don't want it to all just be like Black Friday, because again, especially when you come out of that period, you still want some content to kind of continue just, well, starting from Black Friday and obviously going through into terms of like obviously December and beyond. So again, I think it's like, it's a kind of a line in terms of, yes, you want to have top creators who you want to try and find who you know are going to be able to create sales, but at the same time you want creators who already have worked for your brand and obviously know like the key USPs, but at the same time they can create good content. So again, it's trying to find that balance, which again is not easy to kind of find, especially if you're a new brand on TikTok Shop. But again, if you've already worked with maybe creators or influencers on Instagram or into a different kind of like realm, then it's good obviously kind of bring them onto TikTok Shop, work with them. And I would say the main thing as well is to brief them. So again, brief them in terms of, okay, what's your offers, what's kind of the key selling points, and again, how many piece of creators as well, because again, some creators maybe create one post, but I would say in this period of time, if you're working with a creator, you maybe want to create maybe 5 to 10 posts, again, obviously kind of talking about the product and obviously different hooks, different kind of like USPs to kind of get them over the line in terms of when the customer sees one video, they see another video, and again, they kind of can say, okay, well, this person obviously is representing the brand. I trust this person now, and obviously I want to buy into the kind of brand as well.
And that's interesting about like talking about like creating that content, because that really does tie into like meta as well, doesn't it, James? Like with creating that content that can be repurposed across all of your other channels. And is there anything that you do specifically, James, around like branding around BFCM campaigns that stops it from being used after the period?
Yeah, so it's a fine line. I think you need to optimize your ads to show like exactly when the promo is, like putting creative overlays, your headlines. But I think it's like, I wouldn't always just use new content for Black Friday. I would use your like evergreen ads and like put in a simple text box around the top of them. It's fundamentally they're the ads that have done well throughout the whole year. Why can't we use the same ads and just make them Black Friday ready? So yeah, there is ways to like sort of use like net new creatives, but also use like past performers and put like Black Friday stamp on them as well.
And if something's performing really well, like, and it's covered in like BFCM branding, like you don't just switch the campaign off, do you, and start again, or do you have to do what can brands do to kind of, you know, keep on top of it?
Like, yeah, so yeah, most of, like a lot of the time in Black Friday, it's the non-promo ads that will probably do the best. Like the evergreen ads, they'll obviously get the Black Friday traffic. So yeah, it's just making like a balance between just getting as much like eyes on our promo offer. But I think if we've got like all the other parts of the funnel, so the landing pages, the email marketing, the SMS, I think it's just getting as many eyes on those parts of the funnel as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just all a balancing act, really.
There really is like so much for brands to kind of think about, like, because there's so many different channels now that people need to be aware of, and the content's so different for everything, and the ads are so different across everywhere.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Is there anything that you know of, Ashley, that, you know, when people are kind of working on TikTok Shop, and is there anything on any top tips that you've got where people can stay organized and make sure that they're not missing anything? Is there anything there that you can help with?
I mean, organized is definitely something that doesn't happen around this time. But yeah, in terms of like, one thing that I would say as well is kind of just planning ahead, but being able to be reactive at the same time as well. Because again, there's so much that can happen in a short period of time, especially on TikTok Shop. If, say, for example, if something goes viral, let's say, and obviously you start to get a lot of traction from that, you then basically want to reach out to that creator and say, okay, can you create some more similar content around that? So again, I think the main kind of focus point will be is kind of like, yes, you can obviously plan and get things ready, but being able to, if you see a spike or you see something that's working really well, and probably similar to Meta as well in terms of that, you may want to up the budget, stuff like that. But like with TikTok Shop, how can you obviously utilize that piece of content? And then what I also say as well, which we do before, and obviously prior to Black Friday, Cyber Monday, just in general, how can you take that content from obviously TikTok Shop and use it on your other platforms, i.e. in terms of like adding that to your Meta kind of campaigns as well, to kind of get the most out of each kind of campaign. So yeah, I would say the main thing is obviously, yeah, trying to prepare, but at the same time being ready to be reactive, because it's obviously, if you can be reactive, that's where you're going to probably get the most gains from the platform for sure.
And once like creators produce like content specifically for BFCM, what are some like effective ways that brands can kind of amplify that to reach like that more broader audience? Do you think they should consider any kind of like paid ads on top of like the organic?
Yeah, definitely. Because I feel like as well, where the platform's going towards, organic is, I would say it's like a lottery that you can post a piece of content and it could obviously get a lot of views or it might not. So if you obviously work with the creators, get the spark code, which is kind of like whitelisting the kind of piece of content. So you can obviously then use it as an ad for obviously for TikTok Shop. That's where you're going to probably get the most out of each piece of content, because as well, with organic, it can sometimes take a bit of time to get traction. Obviously, because you know you've got a short window for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So what I'd recommend is, in terms of, depending obviously when you are starting your campaign, get that spark code and start running actual paid behind it straight away, because again, that's going to probably allow you to obviously get more out of that piece of content rather than just leaving it to try and get organic traction, because by the time it does get organic traction, that period might be already finished. So that'll probably be the one recommendation I'd make for sure.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, it's interesting enough. Like, I think TikTok paves the way a lot for other channels. Like, I think the audience is craving like authentic content. And I think that's why TikTok Shop is like booming at the minute, because it's like literally off cuff. It's not scripted. It's people just doing product demos. So I think that has paved the way for a lot of meta ads. Like, people are sick of heavily
Exactly right.
influenced
Yeah.
content. So yeah, I think it's interesting. Like, it's making waves for sure. And it's like a lot of the younger audience on TikTok, the smell through the salesy language. So yeah, I think it's in the next 18 months, I'd say like a lot of meta content's going to be like this, really
100%.
like
I
ugly
agree.
ads, just face to camera. Yeah.
Yeah, we see a lot already, especially because we work with a lot of US brands. Again, it's similar, like they already are kind of moved away from the, like say the full kind of blown meta ads, and like say just
Yeah.
using that more UGC kind of style of stuff, because it just works. Because again, it's kind of, I feel like everyone's kind of got the blinkers to the kind of ad campaign. So again, obviously if it's more organic, that kind of
Yeah.
raw kind of content, that seems to be what's kind of cutting through right now.
And for both of you, like, how far in advance do you think people should be preparing? Like, especially from like a promo point of view as well. Like, is it different across channels, or do people tend to run like the same?
As a marketer, I want to be well in advance.
Literally right.
It keeps me up at night when if it's like a week to go and it's not like scheduled in the ad account. But yeah, I'd say like 1 or 2 months in advance.
Ideal world.
Yeah, because what works well for Meta is there's actually like a warm-up period. So like none of the promos have even ran, and we want to like use ads to optimize email signups, like get as many video views in our ads. And doing this gives us like a real big retargeting pot, so we can go full send on the Black Friday. So that takes a bit of planning. We'll also like sometimes do teaser offers 2 weeks prior. Just get a bit of urgency and get a bit of buzz around our promos. I think Gymshark do this really well. So they'll have like retargeting ads about setting dates throughout the year of their flash sales, and it just gets so much urgency on it. And yeah, just we want to get to the stage, yeah, like I said, retarget heavily. I think 50% of our budget goes on retargeting. So we're not looking to get as many top of funnel customers. And then after Black Friday as well, there's a cool down period. So like all of this, yeah, it takes, I'd say like 1 or 2 months prep, just getting all of the promos on the calendar sorted, getting all the assets created, and getting our ads scheduled. So it's not just like a last minute thing.
Yeah, no, I definitely second that as well. I feel like it's a little bit different with TikTok Shop. But like I say, the earlier you can support it and obviously start to work on it, the better, because obviously there's a lot of factors that go into it. If you've already worked with a creator, it's fine. But if you're trying to get net new creators, obviously you have to send the samples out to them. You have to then obviously brief them. Then you need to obviously know a little bit more about the brand. And then they've got like that 14-day kind of window to post content. So again, you want to make sure that you'll be able to drop the content at similar kind of time. And I know with TikTok Shop as well, it's kind of, I think from like the 10th of November, they're starting to do like activations, and they're kind of like doing subsidizing, obviously discounts in the platform from then onwards as well. So again, it's how you kind of tier that whole kind of period as well with like your content, your ads, and if you're doing organic as well, to make sure it's obviously runs as smooth as possible. So yeah, the sooner you can do it, the better. And I'd say even now, obviously we're getting into like November time, the window is definitely getting shorter to kind of do that. Because again, if you start to send samples out late, you're going to miss that window. So yeah, you need to kind of be all on deck now if you want to kind of have a successful TikTok Shop Black Friday, Cyber Monday for sure.
And like with TikTok's algorithm focusing quite heavily on organic content, how can brands like leverage that organic side of TikTok to kind of build up that anticipation? Like, is there any specific content types that you've seen work best, or any like posting strategies that you would recommend?
Yeah, I'd say if you're going to do an organic, I think that the main kind of focus will be not focusing too much of trying to, again, go viral, but obviously just trying to get as much content out as possible. So if you can, as a brand, I'd be saying if you can be posting like 2-3 times a day when it gets to that Black Friday, Cyber Monday period, because if not, there's going to be so much kind of competition out there. And obviously, if you're posting organically, you've obviously still run as an ad, and at the same time, you're going to probably likely to get in front of your followers as well on the platform. So I'd say that's definitely one way of doing it. And again, moving away obviously from the kind of organic side. But again, if brands can be doing lives in this period of time, either they're going to be the brands that are going to win the most on the platform. Again, they're already kind of speaking to some brands who are going to be doing like 24-hour lives in terms of like the Black Friday, Cyber Monday. And because TikTok Shop is pushing so much towards the kind of live section of obviously TikTok, again, I think they're going to obviously send a lot of traffic to that. The algorithm's going to push towards that as well. So again, if brands have got the resources to, like say, be doing lives, whether it's like one a day or like say that 24-hour like for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, I think they're going to reap the rewards from that for sure.
Yeah. And obviously it's super high traffic time on TikTok. Do you think that there's anything that people can do around staying agile with like the trending content as well? Because I imagine that it should be picking up on like viral moments or any trends that are kind of happening to kind of tie that into their promotional messaging.
Yeah, I think as well, like I say, I would definitely lean on some of the trends and obviously like, because again, there's a lot of like, obviously like hashtagging like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, or like kind of like, look what I bought. And do you know what I mean? All that kind of trends that kind of leads towards that. But again, I would say only focus like a little bit of your efforts into that, because again, if you are just doing like organic or like trying to post stuff, it's not going to probably get as many views as obviously like if you put ad spend behind it. So I do think the platform is becoming more of a pay to play kind of platform. So obviously if you are paying, obviously spending quite aggressively on ads, your organic will also be rewarded for that. So again, I think the best kind of way of doing it is obviously post as much organically as you can, running ads to your own content and obviously sparking your affiliate content, and then obviously then running lives as well. I think that's going to be the kind of unlock for TikTok Shop success for Black Friday, Cyber Monday for sure.
Is there any magic formula that you know of that people can implement? Like how many times should they be posting? How many trends should they jump on? How many times should they be going live?
I would say for not just Black Friday, Cyber Monday, but I would say to start to build up from November, start to post in. Like I say, you don't necessarily need to be posting about Black Friday, Cyber Monday, but just starting to build up people to anticipate in terms of what's going to be happening from an organic side of things. That'd be kind of one part of that. And like I say, if you can post consistently, whether like I say that's one a day, two a day, or three a day, however that looks, that'd be kind of the go-to for that. In terms of the trends is always a hard one because trends will always pop up, and that's where you will need to be reactive on that side of things. Because again, you can obviously post something and obviously like put hashtag Black Friday, Cyber Monday, but that might still get lost in terms of obviously the TikTok ecosystem. So again, it's kind of just if you've got someone who can be like looking at other brands, seeing what they're doing and try and replicate it, but with your own spin, I think that'd be a good way to kind of find them little incremental wins from an organic kind of like viral standpoint. And then when it comes to lives, I would just say literally just the more you can do, the better. Because again, if you start early, like again, if you start from November, start doing lives you've done them previously, again, that's going to build the algorithm to start sending you more traffic to that busier time. I would stay away if you're a brand thinking that you can literally just launch on that Black Friday, Cyber Monday doing a live. You're probably not going to get the traction because TikTok's going to reward the brands that have already been doing lives previously. So again, if you can start from now doing lives, again, just start by doing half an hour, build up to 1 hour, and then start to get cadence when it comes to that week before Black Friday, Cyber Monday, where you can be a little bit more aggressive. I guarantee you'll probably see some great results going into that busy period of the end of the month.
And people just even like watching like order packing, don't they? Like it doesn't even have to be anything like mind-blowing content-wise, does it?
Yeah, don't overcomplicate it. Like say, whether you're in a warehouse just doing packages, or like say you're just literally sitting in the desk with a team and obviously just got product around you and just like sampling it. And like say, the one trick as well is like say just if you've got a product that you can demonstrate, again, just get close to the camera, demonstrate it, do a lot of giveaways, interact with the actual users on the platform. That's going to be the best way to kind of win, because again, it's that interaction that you have live on with the actual hopeful customers. And again, people are starting to understand that and like that a lot more for sure.
And James, like, is there any kind of urgency tactics that brands can use across like Meta without seeming like too full? And I know you said the ones that typically don't have all of the BFCM branding work quite well, but is there anything else that you can think of?
Yeah, so again, I don't think there's the part, like I wouldn't say worry about being too aggressive. It's not really a time for subtlety. Like if you're not going full send, your competitors will be. But in terms of like urgency, there's obviously like some like flash sales, countdown sales, but they're normally for like the landing page. So I would honestly just use your like evergreen ads, use what is working in your account, and just do simple Black Friday overlays. You want the funnel, once they're in the funnel, to really do the flash sales, the urgent stuff. But we want to just be getting as many eyes on our website as possible. And again, like, this just needs to, you just need to look at your past performers. Don't just treat Black Fridays as a completely new time or concept. We need to be looking at past data, looking at not even just last Black Fridays. And yeah, that's going to create urgency. Your retargeting pot, they will have interacted with about 10 of your ads already. So it's just literally just getting them across the line, not reinventing the wheel, just using the components of what has made you successful so far, and just retargeting these heavily with lots of different diverse bits of creatives as well. We don't want to just be having like 2 Black Friday ads, sale now on. We want to be using like video, statics, UGC, and just, yeah, getting a lot of different diverse bits of creatives, because otherwise it's just going to fizzle out quite quickly. And we had a client in the past that said that they just did one promo from the start until the end, and they said they just got nowhere near enough scale. So yeah, diverse bits of creative, and you can be as aggressive as possible with this as well.
And this one can be kind of to both of you, I guess, but like, have you got any insights from previous campaigns that surprised you, or anything that brands should kind of keep in mind to kind of maximize this potential now? Any like top tips?
From my, like I say, because this is going to be kind of like the big hurrah from a TikTok shop perspective. So again, I know they're putting a lot of effort into it in terms to make it as successful as possible. So what I would say to brands, if you've already been on TikTok shop, obviously look at them kind of key moments prior in terms of like different campaigns that TikTok shop has ran. But I feel like realistically, you can still look at your data from, like I say, your e-com in terms of obviously your sale kind of numbers, but it's going to be hard because I feel like there'll be a lot of brands that, like I say, will have these moments that they will be selling out. So I would say just make sure your stock levels are going to be good across obviously TikTok shop, if you're kind of like splitting your inventory for e-com and obviously TikTok shop separately, because I feel like if you're doing really well on e-com and you're doing well on TikTok shop, you want to make sure that you don't lose that momentum for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I would say basically what surprised me is like you could have like a really gender-oriented product. So it could be like a female skincare product. But obviously, because it is gifting season, you can like go out to like the partners, like the male demographic, and you'll probably see it on your feeds. Like, I've just bought or like my boyfriend bought this for me and I love it, etc. And yeah, I think that was a surprising thing, because I think some of the brands who went with the opposite gender actually got the advantages of like the lower CPMs, the lower cost of advertising, and they just could get like massive scale through this. So yeah, that's one of the biggest surprises, like the gifting angle. It seems like obvious now you say it, but I think that's what we're doing with our brands this year. We're going to go not too heavy, but we're going to probably get about 10% of ad spend to the gifting angle. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty clever trick.
And is there anything around like retargeting in specifics that, James, that you can think of that people should be thinking about?
Yeah, so like I said before, you've got to think about how many people are in the retargeting pot. So I think even now we should be optimizing for getting as much people in your email flows, your SMS flows. You can do some like video view campaigns, and you want to like take advantage of this lower cost of advertising period, get like a real pot of warm and hot audience that we can go full send. And sometimes like 50% of our budget is on retargeting, whereas in a normal, and then like in off-peak times of the year, it'll be like 70% top of funnel and 30% retargeting. So yeah, I'd say the technique is just getting the pot really, really full to go full send.
And just around like engagement, Ashley, like how important is it to kind of, obviously there's the engagement where you are going live and you're kind of speaking to people is there anything else that you can do, like, or that you recommend people do around engagement, after they are posting content on TikTok?
Apart from, like I say, obviously sparking it or running ads towards it, I think that's going to be the main kind of component for it. And I think, like James mentioned as well, a good kind of strategy on TikTok shop as well now is, like I say, if you can utilize this period of time now where you have got a lot of content that is generally going out, because again, if users are seeing this content already, they're going to kind of go into that kind of retargeting pool for TikTok shop as well. So again, it's kind of saying, okay, how much content can you get out there so many more eyeballs can get onto your actual content now, because then when Black Friday, Cyber Monday does drop, then again, they're going to probably be served that piece of content, whether it's organic or ads, because especially how TikTok runs from an organic perspective, it's always going to target people who are going to be more likely to obviously shop with you, and then the same similar with the ads kind of thing as well. So I would say the main thing is, especially this time, still obviously getting the quality out there in terms of your content, but definitely a quantity number, because again, the more content you can get out there, the more chances of success you're going to be able to find for sure.
Well, thank you both so much. That was super insightful, and I'm hoping that people got some top tips. We have had a couple of questions that have come through, and so I'm just going to kind of just check these now and then send them to you both. Okay, so kids brand, toy brand. So with parents as like their obvious key audience for the children, how can they make like their Meta and TikTok feel more family friendly and emotionally resonant during BFCM? And is there anything in specific from a creative point of view that they should focus on to appeal to both like kids and parents?
Yeah, I'd say just be as authentic as possible. Again, like using user-generated content. Like, I know it's a bit of a grey area with using like some children in the shots, but if you've got permission, I think using like product demos from kids, just making it look authentic, and just like have some strong angles you can go out to, like we're obviously targeting the parents, so we need to like display trust, display like it's a really nice brand. I think like founder stories are really good. I spoke about this last week as well, like showing the reason why you recreated the product. I think that'll really resonate with the parent sector as well. Just shows they're not like a faceless toy brand. So yeah, just authenticity is again the theme of that, really.
Yeah, and just to follow up on that as well, I think especially from a TikTok perspective, there's such great categories to be in, because again, obviously, if you can get the right creators who are a parent as well, people buy from people, as we already know. So again, obviously, if they can showcase in terms of, okay, the reason why they bought the product, and obviously how they're finding it, and obviously, like say, can demonstrate it with their children in the shots as well, stuff like that in terms of utilizing it, I think that kind of sells the product quite easily from that side of things. So again, if you can find these great kind of, especially mum creators, they are the perfect kind of creators to work with as well, because again, they just resonate so well with the audience. So again, if you can find them, utilize them, because again, they know the product more than anyone else. Obviously, that's the reason why they're buying it. Then again, obviously, you can definitely utilize that really easily.
I've learned like 50 to 70% of my mum knowledge from TikTok.
Exactly right.
Yeah,
there you go.
Once you interact with one, you get flooded.
Yeah, literally.
I'm like well into like mum talk, like everything I need, like, my baby throws his food.
Well, it always has to be like a stimulating toy. It can't just be like a toy that's fun for the kid. It has to be like, oh, this will develop their brain, even though it's just like a normal
a spinning top, basically.
Yeah.
But it's everything though. It's like I saw one about like toy rotation and how you shouldn't just give your kids like all the toys always to play with. You should give them like stuff like that. I'm like, how would you ever know about that if TikTok wasn't here?
It's funny you say that. We talked about that literally the other day as well. Me and my wife were saying the same thing. She found a video similar. It's like, how do you know about TikTok? It's crazy.
Yeah, no.
And it's funny as well because it's gone through like my whole journey of like from when I was pregnant each of the weeks, like, and obviously all the information that you wanting to know about it changes, doesn't it, as the baby's kind of growing, and then from like labor and how do you know you're in labor and giving birth, and then now he's like nearly 1.5, and I feel like TikTok stayed with me through all of it.
And that's why TikTok's so good in terms of that, in terms of, like, say, being able to interact with users no matter where they are. Do you know what I mean? It's obviously right and perfect for where you are in your journey in life as well. So again, it kind of just showcases how powerful the platform is.
And something else has come in, so around like high priced items. So how can we use Meta and TikTok to kind of build awareness around like high priced products during like the BFCM whilst encouraging conversions? Because as well, I think like the higher the price, especially on, you know, I know from Meta, like you're not as likely to get like that impulse buy, or maybe you are. But is there any kind of ideas that you've got around there when people do have that higher spend that they need to?
Yeah, so hopefully you will have been warming up the audience throughout the year. Obviously, like a lot of nurturing goes into these ads. I think ads are just one part of the puzzle. We obviously want to get as many eyes on our products, but if you've got like a really nice nurturing sequence, you've built up a community. I think this is going to be the real drivers of performance. And with like big ticket products, I don't think you need to do like a huge discount. You want to keep your premium sort of price point. You don't want to like dilute your brand positioning, but it can just get people over the edge. If you're monitoring like a big product, I think we had a speaker from a high end, was it a cold water dip company?
Brass Monkey, yeah.
Yeah, they were saying like they did a lot of community building, but like products like that, they will be waiting for Black Friday. Like I've done it with Apple products in the past, or like other products. You are waiting for like the weekend just to make the decision. So I think a lot of them have made their mind up and they're actually waiting for the discount. So yeah, I think it's not too dissimilar to other price points. It's just like you have to nurture them a lot more.
Mm.
Yeah. And I'd say from a TikTok perspective, I definitely think going down the lives avenue would definitely support that, especially like for the high ticket, because you can showcase it, you can demonstrate it a lot more as well. Like most people that, on my feed a lot of the time is always like the treadmills. Obviously, they're quite high price points, and obviously you see them in a lot of lives as well, because again, you can obviously demonstrate it, you can showcase it, you can talk a lot more about it and answer questions like, say, live. So again, it's kind of having that kind of customer service kind of interaction at the same time. So again, people are going to be able to not necessarily just see a video, but they can obviously be on the live, see how it all works, and understand the product a little bit more as well. So again, I think definitely if you can in-house start to do the lives, or again work with a few creators who you can obviously send the product out to and get them doing a lot of lives as well, again, all that traction will definitely support that. And again, they might not necessarily buy directly through TikTok shop, but they might then go and search the brand, whether you're on, like, say, your e-com store or you're on Amazon as well, just kind of then buy through that kind of platform. So I definitely would recommend that for sure.
Yeah, I think the objection handling's really good on TikTok.
Yeah, massively.
I think like with high ticket products, if you can like answer the objections on the live, that'll be so good for high ticket.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we have to try and sort of portray in our ads. It's an expensive product, but here's why. But I think TikTok Shop's got a lot of potential for that.
Thanks, guys. And parting comments. So, top tip or top piece of advice that you want to give to the brands so that they can go ahead and smash BFCM and beyond.
Yeah, do you want to go, Ashley?
Yeah, I think plan as much in advance as you can, but still being reactive. I think that's definitely a good pot for it. And like I say, if you can do lives, that would definitely help. And like I say, don't overcomplicate the lives. Like even if it's just you in your warehouse and you're just doing something off the cuff, again, that will work really well. Like I say, it will get momentum and you will start to see a lot of traction from it for sure. And you've got to keep in mind as well, this Black Friday, Cyber Monday is just a period on TikTok Shop. You got to still think beyond that as well. So again, if you can get traction from now, this is going to take you into December and obviously into 2025 as well on the platform. So yeah, that would be kind of my key takeaways.
Yeah, and mine are pretty similar. I think it just shows like the algorithms are quite similar. They just want you to stay on platform. But yeah, I just think warming up our audience as much as possible, getting a big retargeting pot, and again, just differentiating the promos throughout the whole month, keeping it like fresh, keeping the urgency on it, and yeah, just being authentic. Don't just try and reinvent the wheel. Like look at your ad account, look at previous years, and that'll tell you the biggest tips, like way to craft an irresistible offer.
Yeah.
And yeah, lastly, just looking at your margins. Don't give the whole shop away. Just try and really delve down that route before looking at like tactics.
Yeah. And I think as well, having like transparency as well, like we were saying, you know, if you are planning on offering the same discount throughout that whole month, then be honest and kind of tell the customers that, because they're not then waiting for just that weekend just in case. So having that like really clear, transparent approach, I think with the customers would be helpful as well.
Yeah, totally agree.
Definitely.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the end of today's session. Thank you both so much for sharing, you know, all your tips and your wisdom and things. And if people, you know, need a little bit more help or they're struggling, how can they best get in touch with both of you?
Yeah, so probably via email or LinkedIn, james.jago@rainycityagency.com.
Yeah, and for me, similar, like LinkedIn, or just reach out to me on email, which is ashley@socialtail.co.
Yeah, cool.